It took some time, but I think we're finally here. I think Jaden Ivey is finally settling into an impactful role with the Detroit Pistons en route to being the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I am your host, Khahil. I've been covering the Detroit Pistons for the last 4 years, been a credentialed media member over the last 3 years. I appreciate all of you guys who make Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. That's another great way to support the podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Later on, I want to discuss, could Isaiah Stewart be in consideration for Sixth Man of the Year? Should he be warranting consideration for Sixth Man of the Year? And then lastly, to end the podcast, I believe the Pistons find themselves fork in the road moment. We'll discuss what I mean there later on, so stay tuned. But first, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite player, Jaden Ivey, who I believe has finally, what I would call, I think he has finally finding, I think the team is finally finding, and he is finding and settling into a role that allows him to be impactful on the Detroit Pistons winning and losing games. I think we are finally seeing them find where he needs to be best utilized at. Everyone who listens to this podcast knows that I have not been the Jaden Ivey fan club leader. That's fair. And I've had my criticisms, I've had my concerns with Ivey. And I've never been as high on Ivey as everybody else was, or some of his fans were. That is all true. However, I'm also a fair person. And when the evidence changes, so does my opinion. And what we're seeing, I believe, from Jaden Ivey recently is a player who has realized, this is what I'm good at, this is where I'm not good at, this is how I can affect this team, this is what they need me to do. They have a good thing going. I don't want to upset it. I want to actually help it. This is what they need from me. I'll do this. And I think he's finding that. He hasn't started a game yet this year. I don't think he's going to start a game this year. I don't know if that's going to come. I don't think he's going to start a game. He's only had to play. He's only crossed 20 minutes 3 times in the last 8 games. I don't know how often he'll cross 25 minutes played. He's only crossed 25 minutes played in 1 game. Don't know how many times he's going to cross 25 minutes played. Despite not knowing any of that, I think he's proven, or he's not proven, he is proving that this role and what they're using him as is impactful. Over the last 8 games, he's averaging 9 points a game on 61 true shooting. He's shooting 45% from deep. 43% of his shots are from deep. And per 75, he's taking nearly 6 3-point attempts a game. I'm going to go back to what we've talked about with Ivey for years. I have said for a long time, I have not believed Ivey was going to be this on-ball primary guy, this guy who is excelling as an on-ball creator and excelling as this on-ball playmaker, this heavy usage guy. I have had my concerns about that with him for years. And when he first came back, they tried to use him a little bit in this regard, and it didn't go well. It hasn't gone well really at any point of his career in trying to force that heavy usage on ball. So what they've instead done is they have moved him completely off the ball. This year, he has a 17.9 on-ball percentage. That is by far a career low. By far. Last year, for example, 28% on the ball. The year prior to last year, he he was at 20%. And then his rookie year, he was at 31%. Now, obviously, his rookie year was when Cade got hurt. So that's obvious. But point is that he is playing on the ball the lowest of his career. However, despite that, over the last 8 games, he's playing his most efficient basketball of his career. Over the last 8 games, they're winning his minutes. They're better with him. They've been better with him on the floor than with him off. This is the first time in his career you can say that's been the case. At other points throughout his career, it's never happened. They've lost his minutes in the years past. And this year, so far, with the way they're playing him, they're winning those minutes. He's playing effective off the ball. This game against the New York Knicks, he had 16 points. All of it was catch and shoot threes, cutting into open gaps, getting opportunities in transition, and then taking his chance there. That's where he's been effective. He's been really good in this. Very good. For example, I want to bring up some more numbers for you guys to back up what I'm saying here. Last year, according to Dale Baller, his creation true shot attempts per 100. What that is how often per 100 possessions is he being asked to create his own shot? How many times per 100 possessions is he being asked to create for himself rather than just being off ball? Last year, he was in the 82nd percentile, and how often he was asked to create for himself. In those situations, he was in the 39th percentile in efficiency. Minus 6.4 true shooting, real true shooting, which means, for those, I'm explaining that for you guys, that means league average true shooting. He was shooting 6.4% worse on these attempts, despite being one of the leaders in the amount of shot attempts he got in this regard. Now this year, he is down all the way to only 4.1 of his attempts per 100 possessions are him creating himself. He's in the 21st percentile. It doesn't matter, though, because what he's doing off ball is proving impactful. He's shooting well from beyond the arc. He's playing well off of Cade. He's playing well off of Dennis. He's playing well off of Ausar. If you go to Data Baller and you look at these duos, when Ivy gets to play with all of these guys, when he plays with Cade, they're a plus 2.7 net rating. When he plays with Ausar, it's plus 5.3. When he plays, I'm sorry, I just lost it. Where did Dennis go just now? There he is. When he plays with Dennis, they're a plus 32.6. Now, that's a smaller sample size, but read into it what you may. When he's been able to play with somebody that is doing the creating for him, and he's able to just attack a tilted defense as either a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter or just cut into gaps, he's been very effective. Like, for example, when they played him with Karis LeVert, and neither of them are really point guards, and you're having Ivy kind of create for himself, those minutes were terrible. They were at minus 3.5 in their 149 minutes. When you adjust for defensive luck, it gets worse to minus 6.2 net rating. That's his worst lineup because they ask him to do more in that lineup. Neither of them fit together because neither of them are great playmakers. They need LeVert theoretically has more on-ball juice, but he's just been bad. But you get my point. Ivy walked into a team that was winning at the top of the Eastern Conference, and he had to come in and figure out, okay, how can I fit into this? I'm sure it was incredibly hard for somebody to see the team succeeding like they have without him, and then be asked to come in and not disrupt anything, not start losing games and have people saying, oh, look, he came back, now that's why they're losing. He's handled all of that really well. And not only has he handled all that really well, he's accepted this role that he's been given, and every time he's on the floor, he's playing harder than I've ever seen him play defensively. Because he's playing in shorter bursts, he's giving it his all on both ends of the floor. He's giving it everything he possibly has. And he's accepting of a role on a team that's winning. That's the most important part. He is impacting winning. He's helping them win. He played extremely well against the Knicks. And he's been having more good games than tough games, especially over the last 2 weeks or so. He's getting better. He's hitting more shots. And the Pistons, and I have to give JB Bickerstaff a ton of credit, which, by the way, I didn't say this in the last episode. I think this game against the Knicks was JB's best coach game of the year. But I have to give JB Bickerstaff a ton of credit for making, I'm sure it wasn't easy to say this to, I don't even know if he had to say it to him, but to make this decision and do this. This is an incredibly prideful player, and a player I'm sure is very high in his future. But JB has made it clear through his actions that, hey, we know what maybe you want to be, but this team's winning right now. This is how we believe you can impact us winning. This is how we believe you can fit into things. And I don't know how often he'll get to play 30 minutes. I don't know what his minutes are going to continue to look like. It's been up and down depending on the play of other guards as well. All I know is that the Jaden Ivey over the past few years, I didn't feel like impacted winning. The numbers didn't say impacted winning. They weren't winning his minutes at any point. They were better with him off the floor over the last few years. And this year, especially over the last 8 games when he started to play better, they've been better with him on the floor and playing his role. They're winning his minutes. And he's playing a role that I've said that I believe would be best for him all along. A guy who can play off the ball, who comes in off the bench, is able to score a quick 11 in 15 minutes when he gets hot from 3. He can go out in transition and be electric. Can attack gaps, can cut into open gaps when someone drives. He can be that type of player, and he's doing that right now. He is absolutely doing that right now, and I'm happy for him. He's finding a role to impact on a top team in the East. My one criticism that I would have, and it's not even really a criticism, it's just something I'd like to see more of. Ivy is shooting so well from deep, and I said this in a previous podcast, but I'll say it again. I think that's the area where I undersold him the most. I wasn't the biggest believer in the sample size last year from him shooting. We now have a much larger sample size, if you include last year, that he has become a really good three-point shooter, a really good catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. If he's going to shoot this much or shoot this well from 3, when he's in the game, I want him to get more threes up. Almost 50% of his almost 50% of his shots are coming from beyond the arc. When you shoot this well from deep, I want you taking more. I think he should take more. This is what his role is. He comes into the game and he's supposed to score in short bursts. Get the threes up. Get them up. You're shooting so good on him, I don't care. Per 75, he's getting 5.6 up. I want that closer to 8. I want him taking threes. Anytime there's a sliver of space that someone isn't respecting him, I want the ball going up because he's proven to be that good of a shooter. So that's I don't think that you can call that a critique. That's just something I'd love to see him do. I think that would make him even more successful. But I'm happy for Ivy because I do think he's starting to figure out a role, and he's found a role, and the team has found a role for him right now to where he's impacting winning, and he's playing well doing it. And they're not asking him to do things that he's not very good at. They're asking him to do the things he is good at, and it's now making him look a lot better. It's not having him play a lot better, and it's allowing him to play with his guys that he's grown with the last 4 years. That all have went through this losing culture. It's now allowed him to be a part of this winning culture and say, I'm not sitting on the bench hurt while they do this. I'm playing and I'm impacting us doing this. It's all of us. I'm part of this. So I wanted to give credit to Ivy because it's not easy to accept that kind of role. And I see that kind of usage completely drop and accept being just an off-ball guy. And he's doing that right now. He's doing it really well. So let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil how you guys feel about how Jaden Ivey's been used and how he's playing so far this year. But coming up, I want to talk about why Isaiah Stewart should be in consideration, should at least be talked about in 6th Man of the Year voting. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season. FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the game tips off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern Time have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect, right before the games, right before the weekend starts. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. Later on, I want to talk about this fork in the road situation I think the Pistons find themselves in. And I am incredibly interested to see what they decide to do. What road they decide to go down. Because it's a tough. I don't. Actually, no. I'll save it for that. I don't want to get into it yet. Isaiah Stewart is having an absolutely fantastic season. I mean, there's no way to hide it. He has been utterly fantastic. Fantastic for the Pistons. What he's doing on the defensive end of the floor, leading the league in blocks off the bench again. I think he is showing. I said it on the last podcast, I'll say it again. I think outside of Victor Wembanyama, who is someone we've never seen before, outside of Victor Wembanyama, and maybe Rudy, who is having a great year, people kind of aren't noticing him, but Rudy Gobert is having another fantastic defensive season. So outside maybe those two guys, I think Stu's probably more versatile in his scheme defensively than Rudy, but Rudy's just so dominant in what he's doing this year. Like, I'll respect Rudy with how well he's playing this year. But my point is outside of those two guys, I think Stu's right there in the best defensive bigs in the entire league. His ability to switch on the perimeter is of the very best in the NBA amongst bigs. His rim protecting numbers are absolutely fantastic. He's one of the best rim protectors in the entire NBA, and it's crazy to see that. Maybe crazy is too strong. I think you guys will get what I'm saying when I finish my point, but like being 6'8" and being this great of a rim protector, I mean, we've seen it, obviously Big Ben was a little undersized, but Big Ben was an alien, like crazy athlete. Crazy, like 40-inch vertical, just like could jump out the building, was hyper twitchy when it came to jumping, second jumps. Like, you kind of understood that. Like, he was a freak athlete. Stu's not a freak athlete. He's maybe a little bit better of an athlete than people sometimes give him credit for, but he's not a freak athlete. Despite that, his timing is incredible. He times shots at the rim amazingly. He has a super long wingspan, really helps him. That really helps, but his timing is impeccable. And he's also not afraid to get dunked on. He's not afraid to get put on a highlight because he feels like I'm going to put them on a highlight more often than they'll put me on one. And to be honest, he's right. Opponent field goal percentage, when a player contests, Stu is at minus 6.3%. What that means is what he would normally shoot versus what he's shooting against Isaiah Stewart. 6.3% worse when it's Isaiah Stewart contesting. Like, the on-off of that, like when Stu's on the floor versus off, minus 18.5%. In other words, in simpler terms, don't try him at the rim. That's basically what that means. He's either blocking your shot or contesting it so well to where you can't get a good look off. I mean, that's just basically what it means. He is one of the best defensive basketball players in the entire league. And for that, I think that warrants him being talked about as potentially a sixth man of the year guy. Like, this is a dude we are talking about may make the first team all defensive team without starting. And I understand that the sixth man of the year award is usually, almost 100% of the time, goes to the guy who scores 18 off the bench. Goes to the guy that's you know, a hyper scorer, a quick scorer off the bench. They favor offense when it comes to sixth man of the year. And I'm not going to lie, most of the time, that's fair. Like, almost all of the time, actually, I'll say, that's fair. I'm not going to say and act like that's crazy. But this year, I think it warrants a different discussion. When you have this good of a defensive player coming off the bench, in limited minutes, by the way, in limited minutes is leading the league in blocks off the bench. In limited minutes, he's not playing 30 a game. Making the impact that he's made on the Pistons and helping this team be the second best defense in the league, I think that warrants consideration. If you look over at the odds for Sixth Man of the Year right now, current odds, as I'm looking at them as of January 6th. These are the odds I'm seeing. So if you listen to this a few days later and the odds change, these are the odds as of January 6th I'm looking at. Khahil Alexander-Walker is at the top of the odds. He started 29 of his 36 games. I don't even know how he's even qualified for this. Why is he even on the odds? He started more than like 70-80% of his games. He shouldn't be on here. Anthony Black, having a good year. Jaime Jaquez, having a good year. Reed Shepard, coming along. You got guys. Isaiah Stewart, by the way, comes in at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14th place. Comes in at 14th place. Miles McBride is ahead of him. I don't believe he's better than Stu. Aaron Wiggins is ahead of Stu. I don't believe that's the case. Quinn Grimes is ahead of Stu. I don't believe that's the case. Jeremy Grant. Was Jeremy always coming off the bench? Let's go ahead and just double check that one. I'm pretty sure Jeremy started. Hold on. I'm pretty sure at the beginning of the year, at least, he was starting. Yeah, Jeremy started half the games. More than half the games he's played. How many games has Stu started? Stu started 10 of his 33 games. Less than a third. You got Keldon Johnson, who's ahead. I don't believe so. DeAndre Hunter, who's ahead. I really don't believe so. AJ Mitchell was hot, but he was hot early, but and look, AJ Mitchell's good. I'm not trying to diss any of these players. That's not my objective. I'm not trying to take and diss these guys, because all of them that I've named basically have been really good players. These guys are really good players. But I think Stu's been better than AJ Mitchell. I think he's been better than Dylan Harper. Reed Shepard's come on strong. I think he's been way better than Naz Reid. And Khahil Alexander-Walker has started more than 80% of the games. So I don't know how. At worst, I feel like he should be top 5. He should be top 5. And will it happen? Probably not, because teams or the voters don't really care about defense. So it probably won't happen. But without a doubt, Isaiah Stewart is one of the very best, not just bench bigs. He's just one of the best bench players in the entire NBA. Of all the players that come off the bench consistently, he's one of the best players. His impact is absurd. It's just absurd. He's improved as an offensive player. He's improved as a finisher at the rim. He's improved as a shooter. And he remains one of the very best defensive players in the entire league. That warrants even defensive player of the year consideration. He should even get votes for that. As a guy coming off the bench, not playing a ton, he's probably going to make first team all defense. He's going to be in consideration at the very least for a guy that's coming off the bench. I don't understand how that's not a guy that, sure, he doesn't score 20 a game off the bench. He's not a hyper scorer. I don't understand how that isn't someone you just look at and says, impact on basketball. I don't care about the points. I don't care about your how many times you shoot the ball. I don't care how cool it looks. What I care about is impact on basketball. Are you helping a team win? That's what matters at the end of the day. I don't care how it looks. I don't care how many points you score. If a guy who scores less points than you is impacting the game of basketball more than you, he's just better. And by the way, Stu is averaging almost 10 points a game. It's not like he's averaging 5 points a game. 2.1 blocks a game, guys, in 23 and a half minutes. He should be considered, bro. That's all I'm going to say. He should be considered. He should get some votes. Start putting respect on Stu's name. He's not just a fighter like people try to say about him for years. He is a damn good basketball player. And not only should he make an all-defensive team, he should get votes for Sixth Man of the Year. Let me know, comment section down below, or over on Twitter at Khahil. Do you guys agree that Stu should find himself getting some Sixth Man of the Year votes? Let me know, comment section down below, or over on Twitter at Khahil. Coming up, I think the Pistons find themselves with a fork in the road moment. I don't know which way they're going to go, but it's definitely, they're facing decisions here. Some tough decisions. I don't know which way they'll go. We'll talk about it coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Let's be real, managing your finances can feel overwhelming between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where your money actually goes each month. It's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every transaction and hunt down hidden fees. That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions and monitors your spending and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I love how it tracks all of my subscriptions and lets me cancel them right in the app with just a few taps. No more hunting down customer service numbers. You can set budgets, goals, get personalized insights, and receive real-time alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, and low balances. So let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon to let them help you reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Then I've got to tell you guys about another one of our sponsors, one of my favorites, Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or jumping into player projections for the first time, trying something new can feel like a challenge. But with Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure football matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every single night, the action never slows down, and Prize Picks lets you stay in control. Prize Picks is the daily fantasy app that makes watching sports even more exciting by letting you build your lineups based on player projections, no drafts, no waiting, just pick more or less and play your way. It's made watching games more engaging, especially when following individual player performances. I love the flexibility with options like the flex play, where you can still get paid even if one pick misses. That helps me out a lot because I'm not going to lie, I'm not perfect. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup with Prize Picks. It's good to be right. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. That's another great way to support the podcast. The Pistons are facing, I guess, a good problem, but they are two pathways to go here, and I don't know which way they're going to go. I don't think they know which way they're going to go right now. And when I'm talking about, I think a lot of you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Should they make a move, or should they stay the course? I just want to talk real quickly about both ways. Just real quickly. The East is wide open right now. The Pistons are currently first in the East. But the East is wide open. This is probably the most wide open it's been in a very long time. Now, I know the Celtics are playing very well, and Tatum could be coming back. Maybe that throws a wrench into some things. But right now, the Pistons are the first seed in the Eastern Conference. Wide open East. It's open for everybody to get to the NBA Finals. The Pistons have a top player in the NBA playing the best basketball of his career. They have young guys who are peaking at the right time. They have a coach who's done an incredible job. You are now faced with the question of, do you let this ride out and just see wherever this takes you? And if you lose in the second round, you can just walk back and say, well, this team's incredibly young. We were already ahead of schedule. We'll take it. And then we'll make some decisions next year. We'll be right back. We'll be right back here. Or do you look at this and say, we have a top player in the NBA. We have young guys who are peaking. The East is wide open. There is a prime chance. There's a prime opportunity right in front of us to make the NBA Finals in 2026. Do we make a move to take advantage of this situation? I don't know what they're going to do. As someone who watches other Detroit sports teams, I understand folks who are out there and saying, other sports teams, the Tigers, the Lions, both sat there and said, when they had prime opportunities in front of them, nope, we're not making moves because we are a young team and we have young guys who will play well and we'll do it without making a move. We'll be patient. And a lot of people feel like the Tigers missed an opportunity. They fell apart without doing it, and now they feel like they've missed an opportunity. The Lions, the famous quote going around is, this may have been our only shot, from Dan Campbell a few years ago after the NFC Championship game. And each year, they've fallen shorter and shorter of the NFC Championship game, and obviously shorter than the Super Bowl, including this year where they missed the playoffs entirely. Now people are looking back saying, you may have missed your window. And you should have taken advantage of your window when it was there, because you're not guaranteed to get back, no matter how young you are and how good you are. When you have a chance in front of you, you take that chance, because you don't know when it will be there again. You don't know what could happen. So I 100% get those people who are out there like, the Pistons have a chance in front of you. You do not know if they'll be back. You don't know. So take advantage right now. I get those people. I also get the people who are saying, if the team is first in the East right now, with the guys they currently have, and they just beat the Knicks the way they did, why can't they just make the finals with the team they currently have? Why make a move? You can just win with this current team. You're winning with this current team. You don't need to make another move. You're fine. And if you have to make another move, wait till the offseason and then make the move then. Either way, this is not going to be a decision where there's like 80% supporters on one side, 20 on the other. Like, I think this is a 50-50. I see good reasons for both sides. Where I stand on it, I tend to lean towards more, you got to do something. Because I do think, as someone who's watched the Lions and seen the Tigers, and not just them, but teams in the NBA as well, who have opportunities in front of them, who say to themselves, we'll be right back. We're a young team. We don't need to go right now. We'll be back in next year. We'll be back in 2 years. Like, that's fine. And then they never actually do end up back. And then you look back 5 years down the line and said, yeah, that year right there probably was our year. That was our best chance right there, and we should have done something. So that's where I lean. I think I have evolved into and I understand some people will disagree, but I have evolved into the idea and the thinking of people who say, I would, how do I want to put this? I used to be a part of the people who would say, you have a young team, you'll be back. You have a long road in front of you, many years of contention. There's no need to go to do anything now. I used to be in that group, but I have evolved now, and maybe the other Detroit sports teams have affected me. That probably is 100% the case, even though there are some other NBA teams that have done it as well. But I have now evolved to the point where I say to myself, you don't know when you'll get your chances, and you may only get one chance, and you shouldn't just pass those chances up. You shouldn't just say, screw those chances because we're young and we'll just be back again, because you don't know if you will. That's where I find myself in. Now, when I say that, that doesn't mean be irresponsible and do something dumb. That's not where I'm suggesting. Do not be irresponsible. Do not give up everything. Do not give up all your picks. Do not give up multiple young. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, I think you should be looking to improve the basketball team this year, something that gives you a better chance of making the finals. On the other end, because I'm trying to be fair to both sides, again, like I said, I think it's 50-50. On the other end, part of, this team clearly has weaknesses. I think we all can accept, despite them being first in the East, just like any other team, they're not perfect. They have weaknesses that I think we all could agree we could see being the reason why they don't make the finals. They don't have a secondary scorer. Sometimes the spacing can get wonky. They don't really have enough shooters. They have Duncan, but they don't have enough shooters maybe you'd like them to have. However, on the other hand of stay the course, part of the Pistons' identity right now is the fact that you can throw 11, 12 bodies at a team, and it just wears them down. If someone goes down, you have another guy that comes in, and they play hard defense, and you just don't want to play them. You're playing you have a team where only one guy is playing more than 30 minutes because so many guys are impacting the game. So many guys are warranting minutes. So many guys are coming in and playing their tails off. So no matter who's in the game, you're getting hard-nosed defense, and you're getting a bunch of guys who just irritate the opposing team. Do you want to mess with that? We just saw them beat the Knicks by 30 because they have so many guys that they can throw at Brunson. They have so many guys that play hard on the defensive end. Do you really want to shake that up? I don't wish to be in Trajan's position because it is a difficult decision. And I can tell you guys, I think Trajan and I think the front office is also struggling to make a decision. I don't think they know. I'm telling you guys, I don't think they know which way they want to go yet. I think even they're undecided right now. And it's a good situation to be in. It speaks to what you've built, and it speaks to how good the team is, obviously. But these are, when we talked about last year, or 2 years ago even, when we talked about, like, these are the hard parts in building a championship team, figuring out, okay, is this the window or should we forego it and wait to the next window? Sometimes you're right to forego to the next window. Sometimes you're wrong. You have to figure out whether it's the right or wrong window at the time. And I know I feel like it's a bit of a cop-out. I am leaning towards let's do something at the deadline, but I am going to take the cop-out answer of saying, I don't know. I don't know. 2 weeks ago, I was like firmly in the let's just end it with I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know which way they should go. I think both ways are fair, and I understand either way. I'll tell you this. This is what I'm scared of. This is what I know people on the side of don't make moves are scared of. You make a move that ends up hurting you. It messes up the what you got going, and then it ends up hurting you more than it helps. It ends up hurting you, and you ruin what you had. I get that concern. 100% fair. What I'm scared of, and I'll say it one more time, it probably is due to the fact of what's happened to every other Detroit sports team when it comes to this, and their unwillingness to make any move outside of drafts. What I'm scared of is that in 2030, I'm coming on this podcast and I'm saying they were a good team for a while, but their best chance probably was that 2026 season, and they didn't take advantage. That's what I'm scared of. I'm not suggesting at all that the Pistons are going to drop off. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm scared that in 2030, we look back and we say, this team was good for a while. This team was one of the top 4 teams in the East for 4 or 5 years. But their best chance to get all the way to the finals, their best chance to get to the NBA Finals was that year in 2026, and they didn't capitalize. That's what I'm afraid of happening. And there's risk on both sides, like I just painted out. That's why I don't know which way they go. I don't wish to be in Trajan's position. So let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. Where do you find yourself on what road do you take? What road would you take if you were Trajan Langdon? Let me know. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Stay safe out there, and peace out, everybody.